Today, the first Faction Rally of Season 3 has launched, and with it comes the Renown system, a brand new way to gain tokens to level up your chosen faction. And with this new system comes a whole host of brand new strategies and tips in order to maximize your token gains to level up your chosen faction as fast as possible. That's what we're going over in today's video, so let's get started. What is up, guys? Rick Cactus here, and today we are going to be talking about farming tips and strategies and recommended loadouts and a bunch of different stuff to help you guys maximize your faction token gains, because of course usually people are doing this just for the sake of doing this, but now with the Season 3 faction rallies you actually have an end goal with that exotic weapon catalyst available to earn all the way at rank 50. With there only being 3 faction rallies of Season 3, of course you're going to want to be able to level up all the way to 50, gain that catalyst, and then when the next faction rally event arrives, you can choose a different faction, gain that catalyst, and move on to the last one. As such, leveling up your factions efficiently is more important than ever. So let's start out here with an explanation of the new Renown system and how to make the most of it. So the Renown system is essentially 5 stacks that you can get, and the more stacks you have, the more faction tokens you will get from lost sectors. Now you earn stacks of Renown by essentially killing PvE enemies like the bosses and then doing PvE objectives. So if you complete a heroic public event, you're going to get 3 stacks of Renown. That means that you can run with those 3 stacks right over to the nearest lost sector, loot it, and you're going to get more tokens than usual compared to if you went in with 1 stack or 0 stacks. But with all 5 stacks, you get 10 faction tokens, half a level, from a single lost sector chest. So that's definitely what you want to aim for. And with 4 stacks of Renown, you're going to get 8. So you don't lose too much. So you're definitely still aiming for that 4 or 5 stack of Renown. So again, the things that are going to get you Renown are public event completions, patrol mission completions, and high value target kills. Not the actual kill, I should say, but looting the high value target chest. That's going to gain you a stack. Also, the Secure the Caches semi-public event that appears when faction rallies are active. If you do that whole event, capture all of the zones, and kill the end boss, you're going to get 2 stacks, whereas capturing can sometimes just give 1 stack for that one captured zone. Generally, I think that event is really not worth doing. Now, something very important is that the more stacks you have, the easier you are to kill. For every stack you gain, you're going to do less damage and take more damage. In addition to that, after a stack of 3 Renown or more, you're going to actually move slower, and when you have Renown active, you will not regenerate health. Instead, you will have to kill enemies, and those enemies have a chance to drop a healing orb that you can go over, and it'll start your health regeneration. So, moving on from there, let's talk about actually farming tokens. Now, the very first thing you want to do is complete your 3 faction milestones. You're going to have 3 different milestones for each of your 3 different characters, if you have 3, and each of them can get you a substantial bonus of faction tokens. Now, one of those is for looting a lost sector with 5 Renown on Earth. Make sure you do that one, you're going to get around like 40 tokens. That is just once per account. But again, doing that on a character and then switching to a different character, that separate character is also going to have a faction rally milestone that has you talk to the different factions and then go and gain some Renown and then loot a lost sector with 5 Renown, and instead of getting 10, you're going to get 20. So that's a pretty substantial boost just for switching characters. Now once you've done that, it's time to pick a character and just start farming normally. And picking a character is actually incredibly important. Like I said, you do not get health regeneration when you have stacks of Renown. This is huge, and likely it's going to be the reason that you die. You get low and you have no chance to get back up. So choosing a farming class One with a lot of access to health regeneration abilities is very important, and that's why you're going to see me in the background gameplay playing a Voidwalker Warlock. I'm in the Devour tree of the Voidwalker, so just meleeing an enemy and then getting a kill within that 10-second window is going to completely regenerate my health, super useful. And in addition to that, I have healing rifts. The Hunter, as long as you're using the Worm Crown Husk helmet, that's used everywhere in PvP, that just for dodging, you're going to get health regeneration. Super useful again for farming this. Titans may not have the best time of this, but frankly, you can choose any class. The healing abilities are just going to help and definitely make it easier, and I would recommend it. But something you can choose regardless of class is your weaponry, specifically the Crimson Exotic Hand Cannon. This thing, every time you get a kill, is going to start health regeneration, is going to heal you. Incredibly useful for this. I would recommend it super highly, and it's going to make getting to 5 renown and staying there in order to loot those lost sectors super easy, way easier than not using this weapon. Now, another thing that's going to matter in your loadout is actually your armor, because introduced just today with this new faction rally was the ability for faction armor to grant a bonus to renown. That's right, as you can see by this bonus on screen, if I'm wearing the full set of anti-extinction armor for Dead Orbit because I pledged to Dead Orbit, that means that I'm going to gain a bonus to renown. So previously doing a heroic event would give me 3 stacks of renown, but if you're wearing all Dead Orbit armor, you're going to get 4 stacks instead. And this is just generally going to make it easier to farm tokens, because dying with renown does not make you lose all renown, you just lose a single stack. So if you can do a public event and gain 4 stacks immediately and then go and do 1 patrol mission, gain another stack, you're at 5. Even if you die during the lost sector, you can still loot the chest for 8 tokens, which is a pretty substantial advantage. So that's it for your loadout. Moving on to farming, the #1 key to gaining faction tokens as quickly as possible is public events, and just doing and completing heroic public events, because completing a heroic public event will not only give you stacks in order to go into the lost sectors and gain more tokens than usual, but just completing it at a base level is going to just give you tokens as well. So you're going to get around 5 faction tokens for completing a heroic public event, and also gain renown to then move on and do the lost sector thing. So it's kind of a double whammy. Therefore, if you want the quick, dirty, but somewhat unreliable way to farm tokens, all you do is load into a public space where there's a public event happening, do it, hopefully activating the heroic, and as soon as you complete it, load back into that space solo, and then that's going to make it so that you could join into a public space where another team is still in the process of doing that public event. So you can just join in and do the same public event 2, sometimes even 3 times really easily and gain like 15 tokens in just a couple of minutes. But again, this is unreliable, and if you're playing with other people, this really won't work. In addition, when you fast travel, you lose all of your stacks of renown. So this farming method isn't as efficient as it previously was. The method I would recommend, and the method I'm doing in the background gameplay, and I'm going to be doing way more tonight, is going in and doing a heroic public event first. And this is actually really important. You do not want to do patrols first, you do not want to kill a high value target first, because renown makes things harder. It makes you do less damage, it makes you take more damage, your health doesn't regenerate. You actually want to be going into a public event, especially a heroic public event, with 0 stacks of renown. And that way, you can complete the public event pretty darn easily, and it doesn't matter if you die, you won't lose anything. Once you complete that public event, you're going to have at least 3 stacks of renown, and then you just do a couple of patrol missions, or find 1 high value target running around. That's easily going to gain you your other 2 stacks of renown, then just find a nearby lost sector. Again, if you have that health regeneration covered, especially if you are using the Crimson, it is so much easier. You basically completely negate the downsides, aside from doing a little bit less damage. And that means in order to do that, you're going to need a location that has a ton of lost sectors available and a ton of public spaces that have public events. So I would highly recommend Earth or Nessus. Basically, the rest of the destinations just aren't going to be good enough. There's not enough public events going on. On Earth, you can go from one, do a couple of patrol missions, loot a lost sector, come out of the lost sector, or frankly, as soon as you're done looting the chest, you can open your directory because all of your renown stacks go away as soon as you open that lost sector chest and get those 10 tokens. Then you can look around, oh, there's another event happening over here, go to that public event, do that same thing, go to another public event. Basically, if you're on a location like Earth or Nessus, there is constant public events happening. And that's really all there is to it. Go to an area where a public event is happening, do the heroic version of that, gain some tokens, then just do one high value target and then a patrol mission or 2 patrol missions. There's always going to be at least 3 around a public space. And then with the 4 or 5 renown you have, head to the nearest lost sector and get that chest. After that, rinse and repeat. However, do not get lost in doing this because remember, having a full set of faction gear gives you that renown bonus, and being able to just do one public event and then one patrol mission is going to take substantially less time. So make sure that you're going back to the tower every once in a while, turning in loot and gaining those faction armor pieces if you don't already have them. And guys, that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed and found this informative. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. And if you guys want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That's linked in the description down below, as is my Twitch channel, which you can also follow. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.